Let's dive into our first topic of the day, which is brought to us by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59, one game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who will take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, you can jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app, head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59. We will talk Super Bowl a little later in the show with our guy Darren Smith, but we have to start with the trade yesterday. The Cavaliers acquired DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for Caris LeVert, George Niang, 3 second-round picks, and 2 second-round pick swaps. They did not give up Jaylon Tyson. They did not give up the 2031 first-round pick. They got under the luxury tax, so much so they have space now to sign potentially 2 buyout candidates, which we'll talk about in our TV show on WKYC starting at 12:30. But Jason, in any world, did you imagine Koby Altman and the Cavs could pull off a trade like this without having to give up either of their 2 best assets?
Absolutely not. No.
Good. We're in agreement.
No. And that's part of the reason for the last couple of days, I said I was skeptical if they were going to get anything done, because I didn't think that they could pull this off without including either the 31 unprotected or Jaylon Tyson, and I wasn't sure. I don't know if the 2 sides would align on that. But to be able to pull this off, I mean, the swaps, the 3 2s, 27, 29, and 31, they're probably not going to be very good. Maybe 31 has value, maybe. The pick swaps, maybe 28 has value. But, for the most part, I thought they kind of stole DeAndre in this deal, and he fits an absolute – it was the most important need that they had on this team, was to find someone with length and athleticism, a 3-and-D type player. He's a much better version of Isaac Okoro, I guess is how I would put it. And I think he slides right in the starting lineup as the starting 3. In Atlanta, they had depth, I guess. That's why they move on from him. They like Caris LeVert. But, man, I was shocked that they were able to get this deal done, and not only getting the player, but to be able to get under the tax and to have Hunter signed for 2 more years beyond this year. We've talked before about how difficult it's going to be for them to sign players. They're probably now they're almost assuredly a second apron team next year. And so it really hinders how they can go about acquiring players. And the thing that I've been saying all along, the thing that's become evident with these new aprons is you have to be whole when you get there. You can't have glaring needs and then become a second apron team, or you're the Phoenix Suns and you're trying to trade Kevin Durant. They're a mess. You have to be whole. And this is as whole of a team right now as you can have in the NBA before they're even a tax-paying team. They knocked it out of the park. They did an incredible job, and kudos to Koby and his staff for pulling this off.
First and foremost, before I get into it, I want to thank George Niang, and I want to thank all jokes aside, Caris LeVert, for their contributions for what they gave to the Cavs. I know this is a bittersweet moment for those guys, because anytime you're on a championship caliber team and you put up the type of numbers and put up the type of wins that they had early in the season, you're already indoctrinated into the culture. You're imagining going to the finals. You're thinking about the playoffs. You're thinking about all those things. And for them to come to you and say, hey, this was a move we had to make for the greater good of the team, I know it had to hurt a little bit. George Niang was a great dude in the locker room. By all intents and purposes, everyone raved about him. Donovan Mitchell talked about how he loved this group of people. Caris LeVert is a hometown guy, Columbus guy. So I want to thank them for what they've done. And it's sad to see guys who built into that culture have to leave. But with that being said, this is one of the biggest home runs I've seen in a very long time. And if you're watching Andrew Berry, this is how you change your fortune in 1 year. Rewind to last year. We talked about possibility of Donovan Mitchell not want to sign. Darius Garland was looking like he was on the blocks. Jarrett Allen talking about, he missed the whole season in postseason. Previous to that, he was talking about the lights being too bright. Those two guys looked like they were on the outs. Evan Mobley was at an existential crisis because he looked at the situation and was like, okay, Evan, either you're going to be a regular guy or you're going to be a superstar, and let's get to it. Fast forward a year, right? They get rid of JB, keep the core 4, have the best record in the league, come out the gates cooking, and we look around and we need one piece. And we need a wing. We've been talking about a wing forever. And they get DeAndre Hunter for a bag of wet nickels and some big league chew. I'm no lie. He can shoot the 3, 19 points a game, 6'8". Now look at your starting lineup. Look at your starting lineup. Now you got the two twin towers down there, 6'8", and you still have, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. You didn't give up Jaylon Tyson. You didn't give up no first-round picks. You still got Isaac Okoro. It's almost like Atlanta just gift wrapped them and said, here, I know I didn't send you anything for Christmas, Jay, but here's DeAndre Hunter about 8 weeks later. That's crazy to me. And then the biggest part of it, and you robbed me of this, McNuggets. You ran the rundown, and you made me talk about it during TV. But the biggest part of this is now you all the way up underneath the luxury tax. You could get 2 guys in a buyout. And guess what? One person that I'm looking at intently right now. Hey, if you get DeAndre Hunter, guess what? I don't got no problem with you going after Ben Simmons.
We will talk about Ben Simmons. Trust me.
6'10"? You can get, at least he can guard and drop some dimes. The Cavs is looking up, Jay. The Cavs did what we want the Guardians to do, and what we need the Browns to take notes on. Tremendous job. I can't hate not one bit on this move.
Yeah, if you grade it 0 to 100, you actually get extra credit points.
It's a 101.
It goes above 100 because it checked all of the boxes that the perfect trade would check. We talked about, obviously, you need a stretch 3. You need somebody who's going to fit in with what you have and kind of erase the, I don't want to say glaring weakness that this team had, but it was an obvious area that they had to address. They do that. Like you, I hate losing Niang. I look back at the shot from Garland 2 nights ago. The first guy to Garland was Niang, and I saw the look on his face. I watched it again last night after the trade. And this is a human. These are human beings, and you have to think about the ebbs and flows of their lives. He was a kid in a candy store when that ball went in.
Yep.
He looked like he was 12 years old and he just won his youth league championship. He was so happy. And then in the span of 12 hours, he's packing his bags and he's going to a team, and his whole life was dramatically changed. That's the downside of the sports business. Outside of that, that's the only thing I don't love about this trade. Also, LeVert, you mentioned the fact that he's from Columbus. He does some things well. There's some times where I watch him and I say, he's kind of a liability right now. And then other times I see parts of his game and I'm like, man, if we can have more of that, this guy could stick around. But he couldn't give us more of that. So they got under the tax, which was priority 1, I think, because that affects so many years moving forward, halting that clock. They added the single piece that they most needed. And I have to think that if you're the Celtics and maybe even Oklahoma City in the West or whomever, I can't imagine that they're thrilled about this. They're looking at the Cavaliers just took the one weakness that they had and they erased it. So I can't wait to see the fruits of this trade. I can't wait to see how the pieces fit together. The only thing we don't know is I've always said this is like a chemistry experiment, sports in general. It's the one element. I always say it's the flour of every team. It's what holds everything together. And if you don't have flour, you can't make cake.
Yep.
And my hope here is that it doesn't disrupt the chemistry of that flour, and we can still hold this thing together.
Hunter's a good dude.
I've asked around. I've heard the same thing.
Hunter's
I read
a
a
really
little
good
bit
dude.
about him yesterday. I didn't know a ton about him off the floor. I know his game, but I didn't know. But everybody said, this guy's going to fit in perfectly in that
He
in
played
that
with
locker
Ty
room.
Jerome and won a championship with Ty Jerome at the University of Virginia, so he already has a built-in connection. They're apparently best
great.
friends, which is
That's